I'm going to tell you everything about offshoring and outsourcing in this video. Let's dive into it. What's going on? My name is Amaya and welcome to one more video. If this is your first time here and if you want to learn more about offshoring and outsourcing, start now by subscribing and clicking the bell button. Now let's learn what is offshoring and what are the advantages of it, why you should consider offshoring for your business, and what is the difference between outsourcing and offshoring. So offshoring is a practice of obtaining products or services from another country or relocating production to another country. For example, company Apple that manufacture mobile phones has been operating in the US for over 30 years, but now their competitor has shown up and they're offering similar mobile phones at a cheaper price. As a result, Apple is losing some of its customers. In that case, the company considers China to offshore their manufacturing for cost effectiveness. Now the question is, what is outsourcing? So outsourcing refers to obtaining certain services or products from a third-party company. Many people think outsourcing refers to using a service provider in another country, but that is not necessarily in this case. Outsourcing can be done to a company that is located anywhere in the world. Now let's understand what is the history of offshoring. So companies like GE Capital, Dun & Bradstreet and British Airways all established offshore center in mid to late 90s. These companies had originally created to support internal operations and later on they evolved to a third-party service providers, which is Genpact, Cognizant and WNS. It was apparent that the benefits of economies of scale and capitalizing on the labor arbitrage principles of supplying high-skilled workers at a lower cost was beneficial to not only themselves but to potential external clients as well. This allowed the originating firms to realize returns on investment at an increased pace. Ultimately, the captives became standalone BPO providers with the originators as initial clients. Next common question is, which are the typical offshoring models? This is a very important question. The very first answer to this is global shared services. Global shared services is a collaborative strategy that involves delegating or centralizing a subset of business functions to a new and separate semi-autonomous business center. This model of offshoring could also define the partnerships formed between the separate businesses located in different locations. There are various services that could be offshored and shared among various business units like finance, purchasing, payroll, inventory management, hiring process, and information technology. There are a lot of advantages of shared service centers like reduced cost, faster turnaround, improved efficiency and accuracy by avoiding duplication, inconsistency, and conflict of processes and systems. Second most important offshoring model is a hybrid model. A hybrid outsourcing model is a model made up of best combination of offshore, onshore, and nearshore resources to provide the business with the most optimal solution that aligns with the needs of goals of the company while minimizing the cost. This model provides access to the global delivery and skills of an offshore model while facilitating the local presence and communication access of an onshore model. Companies don't consider outsourcing only for cost advantages. In recent times, it is about achieving the highest quality and innovation at a competitive cost. Hybrid outsourcing model lets the business to conduct the core functions in geographic proximity to the client and other functions to be offshore. For example, American companies can nearshore their core functions to a neighboring country like Canada and routine functions to an offshore center in India. Organizations could also avail the cost efficiency of offshore while indulging the convenience of onshoring. Although the hybrid model is apt for most of the businesses, it often cannot compete with a purely offshore model in terms of cost, which is a way cheaper than hybrid model. Before we move on to the next topic, hit that subscribe button and bell to keep yourself updated about offshoring and outsourcing. Third most important offshoring model is MultiSourcing Model. In the MultiSourcing model, the company enters into separate parallel agreements with different suppliers to satisfy all the needs of the business. The multi-sourcing approach is usually in contrast with full in-house facilities and outsourcing to a single vendor. A typical multi-sourcing model involves having various suppliers offering different services needed for the successful running of the business. It provides access to the services from the best in-breed suppliers and often offers a way around the common pitfall of being locked in a long-term deal with a single vendor. For example, one company may have a supplier in China to perform data center functions and another supplier in India to perform desktop functions. Major advantage of multi-sourcing models is to reduce dependency on a sole suppliers and flexibility to align the products to the end customer needs. Fourth most important offshoring model is the global delivery model. The global delivery model is typically associated with companies that are mainly engaged in IT projects. This outsourcing model could be defined as the process of executing IT projects with the help of resources located at multiple locations across the globe. The teams might be located at the client side or at remote side. The tasks associated with the project could be divided among different teams. This model could also be used to deliver customized projects based on the requirements of the clients. The global delivery model has a lot of advantages, like to minimize the investment cost, making it 24/7 availability of resources and easy access to expertise and knowledge. Although the global delivery model is advantageous, there are a good number of challenges associated with it. A few of those being lack of project control, the risk of communication gaps between onshore and offshore teams, increased coordination cost, and cultural issues. Leave a comment below how you are associated with outsourcing industry and let our community know on YouTube. Fifth most important offshoring model is build, operate, and transfer. This model typically has three phases: build phase, operate phase, and transfer phase. The build phase involves setting up an operation unit that includes everything from selecting the buildings, installing the infrastructure, employing the staff, maintaining the required administration and legal framework. The operate phase is mainly about managing offshore projects. It involves program management, development, maintenance, enhancements, and the product support. The third phase of this model is the transfer phase, in which the project owner is handed over to the client. Generally, project ownership is transferred when the client is fully ready to control the project or when the contract expires. This phase involves transferring the assets and handing over the other operations. Main advantage of BOT model are to save money, increase the profit, and diversifying investment for the investors to minimize the risk. Bond model could be advantageous to the businesses, but the challenges remain. One of the major challenges is the communication gap between the teams. It could be dealt by building a gap and being clear in communication between both the teams. So these were some of the important points about outsourcing and offshoring. As part of the outsourcing industry, I'm sure you may want to learn more about one more video, that is outsourcing advantages. Make sure you click here to watch this complete video. Also, to watch more videos about outsourcing, make sure you subscribe, and thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.